Caspian on the screen for these stats, but I was a little bit surprised to see the Bryn today from Stingray earlier. Given that I'm not the most confident that Axe is as successful of a weapon compared to like many of the other weapons, including most of the ones that Stingray plays. He does play a lot of Ragnir. That's where we see the Qatar Axe crossover in that legend. I don't think that's a very modern legend either, but this is an interesting choice coming out from Stingray for today. Although we know he does have the Bryn, I still would have expected that Orion, maybe the Vector.
Yeah, definitely, like, it seems like Stingray wants a spear, and if you want to have a conversation about the spear, there's a lot of other characters that he could have gone to. We haven't seen too much Axe success overall this weekend. Not too many people have been playing it. Not too many people have been doing well with it, but at the same time, Stingray in his earlier set played it against Boomy, and it worked really, really well when he started leaning into that Axe.
Yeah, it was I think a tweet from Snowy the other day when he was like, oh, bruh is picking Axe in Grand Finals. He does not want to win. And that's kind of my opinion on Axe and how it fits into the current meta, especially at this level. When you're that darn good at the game, every little weakness that you have on that weapon is going to be exploited by your opponent. But Stingray's doing a great job so far. Of course, it's off the back of that spear that we have seen him play in the past on the Orion and on several other characters as well. His spear mastery is looking amazing right now.
And it's so interesting, like, oh, there's the side sig, almost takes out Meg D on the right side. Needs to play the edge guard, goes for a down sig there. Very interesting option. I guess he was looking for the active frames because it's got a lot of them. Nice GC side light into the side air from Stingray, and right now he's run away with this one.
Now Stingray in his actual name on Brawlhalla is making a bold statement. It does say top 4 in the world in parentheses next to his name. So he's going to have to prove that, and it's going to start here at the Winter Championship, because if he's not top 4 in North America, then he can't hardly claim that he is top 4 in the world just yet. That'll have to be shown at the Winter Royale.
You could say if you were top 4 in North America, you just have that much confidence in North America.
No, I'm saying if he's not top 4 in North America, then there's no shot you're going to be top 4 in the entire world. But the way he's playing so far right now, staring down the barrel of a 3-stock against Meg D, and this is the grinding to a halt we talked about. Meg D is going to struggle to get in on Stingray with the lower range of the Qatars. That's a nice way to start things off. Finally has Stingray into KO damage on the edge, but it does not matter. Domination is correct.
That was a Stingray game to lose. He had complete control at all points. It was all about the spear. 555 damage put out. And it's kind of nice because we spent the first start of that game going, well, why is he picking Bryn? He doesn't have that great of an Axe. We don't have to play Axe. And looks like he's just going to not play the Axe for now.
Yeah, like, so then why are you picking Bryn? No, I mean, I'm not going to discount it.
He hit the spear side sig.
That's okay.
He did the GC down sig. Look, there's another side sig for aesthetic points, but check out how his graph is just the whole thing.
That's a big old graph. And oh, look at that. 0 damage on the Axe. Hey, Snow, are you going to tweet about that one too?
He did less damage with all of his weapons.
Yep. Yeah, that was what was the thing that came? Was it domination or destruction at the end of the game?
Obliteration?
It was something saying that Stingray completely handled Meg D. And if we look at past history between these two players, I would not have necessarily come to that conclusion if I was just looking at those numbers. Between these two, it is 1-3 in their career matches in official tournaments, and that is very much in the favor of Meg D. In terms of actual games, it's 5-9. So Meg D has almost won twice as many games against Stingray as the other way around in that equation.
But again, it's Winter Championship. I know Ajax has talked many times about this, and it's like, for whatever reason, when we come to the Winter Championship, the person who had that winning record kind of does worse at the Winter Championship.
We'll see if that keeps going as we get into our next game. It looks like we are waiting for the players right now, ladies and gentlemen. So let's look at some more stats from last game, see if we can find any interesting things. If we look at the damage per engagement between these two, 56 from Stingray, 21 from Meg D. So less than half of the damage per engagement. That's big. That's so big. Because 56, it's not even just like the 2-to-1 ratio. It's that 56 is also just a lot.
Yeah.
So Meg D could have put out 49, and that'd be still really good. But 56 per engagement is so much. That's like it's basically a 3-piece on every single engagement.
Yeah, I mean, that's putting a whole color change in. basically every single time he gets a hit in. Because of course we like to truncate like a health bar into those 50s.
Yeah.
Because 150 is like optimum KO percentage, so you just get 3 50s and then you're good. And he's doing a little bit extra than that. And it's just man, there's so many things that he did right. Like it's just he just controlled it.
So do we see Meg D go for a legend swap off of this? There was no way for him to find any entry against that spear. It was essentially an impenetrable wall that he just could not get through. There were occasional times when he got it. We saw a couple solid strings coming out, but he wasn't able to get that on the reg. That wasn't something he could rely on. But like this is a legend that we know Meg D plays. I've also seen like the Meg D Val, but I mean if he wants to play Katars, that's probably the better choice. I would definitely move on to an Asuri. There are reasons to play Asuri. I don't think there are necessarily that many reasons for Meg D to specifically play that Val that we've also seen.
Especially with like how the meta is currently, right? Like if you tried to weigh gauntlets to Katars, I think a lot of people are leaning it into the Katar
then,
side.
Yeah, that's really what I'm looking at is the gauntlets versus Katars, because both of those legends have sword. Both of those legends have been played by Meg D.
Yo, but non-zero axe damage coming out from Stingray on this one. Actually getting a lot of great damage onto Meg D with this axe in hand. Meg D starting to find some footing, got a downlight recovery. Interesting option there. That's technically the optimum true damage that you can do, but there's a lot of other pressure options you can do off the sword.
Ooh, his axe is looking so good right now. This is one of those weapons that, like, if you need to get 3 hits for a color change on Spear, you can grab, like, 2 hits, or maybe if you grab those 3 hits, then that's giving you, like, a color change and a half.
Yeah, you get a little bit more damage per hit on those axe swings. Some of those side airs in particular can really chunk away. That's a punish opportunity. Meg D, he's really smart. He's going for the optimum damage options there. Downlight ground pound onto Stingray. He knows he needs to make the most out of his hits onto Stingray.
Adding up some good damage. Stingray tried to go in with a D-Light because he was looking for that option. The first one was stuffed by Meg D, but then the second one did hit, got the KO, has control of the stage, has control of the weapons, hits the sidelight. That's the dodge gone. He is just going to grab that second weapon spawn because he knew he couldn't follow up with like another sidelight or a double D-Light into a side air or anything like that. Meg D was way too far away from him, so he took what he could to come out as victorious as possible after that.
Yeah, just trying to deny those weapons as well. Just taking whatever advantages that Meg D gives him. This time he swaps over to the axe. You saw him toss that spear away. Hoping to get some more axe damage built up onto Meg D. But he's not playing axe the way that you'll see like a lot of traditional axe players go. Like they'll go for a lot of those like sidelight nair into dodge read, things like that. Instead, he's definitely playing like an air-to-air game against Meg D.
Stingray's going to be looking for the weapon spawn. He's in the middle of the stage, so he can get to either side wherever that weapon spawn comes up. Luckily for him, it was on the left while Meg D was on his right, so he's able to grab it back to the axe in hand. So he's going to be looking for those big chunks. Loves those neutral lights on the ground. Neutral air for the juggling. Only hits one of those. Meg D, it's like, yeah, you see him hit 3 hits, and Stingray can just basically negate that with 1. And he's playing it really, really well, even though Axe, of course, has those longer startup frames, which is why I'm not a fan of it in this current meta. Meg D, though, starting to take him apart. He might need to swap over to that spear ASAP Rocky.
Yo, the side airs could have done it for Stingray. Meg D almost got that KO, but unfortunately just barely did not hit that final one. But the side stick from Stingray keeps him in the lead, and like you said, swapping over to the spear has been a little bit more effective.
And he's going to stick with it here. You saw him juggling those weapons, opting for the spear. After that hit, the Katars come straight to Meg D. Oh, I'm surprised he didn't go to pick that up. I think he was really respecting what could have come out from Stingray if he immediately attacked out of hit stun.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he was like fearing a wake-up recovery or something like that from Stingray, but shouldn't take too long to finish off this stock. Just needs a recovery, just needs a side air from the right spot.
Both players being extremely careful right now. Stingray has a nice lead, but Meg D could even up the stocks very quickly. You see him looking for the D-Light, possibly leading into the recovery, depending on where he is on the stage. Is there going to be weapon toss because there is one on the stage? He's not. And that's because he probably wanted to stay with sword 100% to finish off that stock. Now that it's damage time, he's swapping over to the Katars because he feels more confident in their damage build ability, the string ability, everything like that, the comeback ability as well. So just getting around that corner, the GC in light, throwing out all of those active frames to catch Stingray when he gets back. Great way to finish that up. He's all but evened up this game, Duke.
Yeah, and it's off the back of like really picking and choosing when he wants to attack. You talk about how Meg D can really slow games down. It's predominantly because he's really not throwing out constant attacks. It's not a barrage of hitboxes. Instead, he's waiting. He's trying to hope that you'll throw out an attack, and then he comes in, gets a punish with his quicker attacks on those guitars.
And that's why Meg D is such a strong player when he utilizes that play style, because it's all about grinding down your opponent's patience and really having high, really strict requirements for when he actually wants to commit. Otherwise, he's in an unsafe position, gets over to the wall there, but Stingray can't really put out much in the edge guard. He's just waiting for the weapon spawn to come back in. So Meg D being able to slow those things down, pick and choose where he wants to actually commit. Look at that, and there is a big commitment. He found the right spot, and that let him take the game.
Yeah, really unfortunate, again, rewinding a little bit to that edge guard opportunity from Stingray. Like, he was unarmed against guitars, and it's an Asuri guitar, so he's like, I can't do more. I want to continue this edge guard, but I don't want to risk that GCN sig. So instead, on stage, Meg D just catching the movement of Stingray. You saw the dodge, caught it with the downlight, and of course he's going to go right on into the recovery, and that's forcing the character swap from Stingray.
Yep. This is going to be a swap over to that Orion. He's getting away from the axe while holding onto the spear. He's going to come into like really what everybody loves. I mean, we say this every time, but it's because I'm a fan too. And this is what I love to see. I love to see the Orion coming out from Stingray, getting back to his roots. And we are going over to small Brawlhalla. Let's see what the Lance is. Now, Kostelix did comment earlier in the day that there were like no Lances in top 32, which at the time, that was correct. But now that has since changed with Stingray swapping over onto it.
Yeah, Stingray, of course, loves to make Kostelix look like a liar.
Yeah, hey, I'm stepping away from that one. You're putting words in his mouth. I ain't got nothing to do with that.
Nice downlight recovery coming out from Stingray. We are on small Brawlhalla, so potential here for some quick stock KOs on really either side.
Yeah, this is really going to play for both players because the D-Light recoveries are on Sword from Meg D are going to be able to KO so much earlier here, but then everything that Stingray has, all of the utility in that Spear Kit, as well as the Signature Kit.
Bogo into the recovery, still not enough though. Over to the Lance. No signatures thrown out. Stingray, he's got that signature down sig, right? He loves to do that right there, but Meg D's ready for it.
A lot of side airs coming out from Stingray before this. Not a lot of nairs, which I'm a little bit questioning of. He wants the KO, and the nair is not going to be the immediate KO option, so he's hoping to keep to catch Meg D jumping in the air so he can get that KO even from the center of the stage. Ooh. Nice dodge, nice movement, a way to get through that. Great punish as well from Meg D, now taking a lead about 1:22 into this game when the first stock fell.
You talked about that wearing that Meg D can do, that friction that he puts on the opponent's mental. That right there, you can see Stingray's getting really eager to finish the stocks off. He throws out so many signatures, down sigs, the Lance side sig as well, and Meg D is going to get those punishes.
And I'm reminded of something that Experience tweeted earlier today, and it was like showing a picture of replays that were like 5.5-minute games, and he said like, when I'm willing to do this, then I'll be like the best in the world. I'm paraphrasing. then I'll be the best player, and that's something that Meg D can do and does, and that's one of the reasons Meg D is so successful as a player, like he was at the mid-season championship, because it's very difficult to do. Everyone can say like, oh, just like don't attack, that's all he's doing, but no, there's a lot of patience, there's a lot of maturity, there's a lot of understanding of what is going on and what could happen that goes into playing successfully in that way from Meg D. Gets stuffed, and the weapon toss, he's sweating, he's done.
Nice wake up from Stingray. The jump pogo, saw the stars come out, went for the weapon toss just in case because Meg D didn't go too low there, and Stingray manages to get himself a nice lead where it had been pretty even so far.
He's not going to extend anything off the top. I think he was mostly out of in-air movement after hitting that recovery. So no major vertical KO there, but still a lot of damage has been done to Meg D. Stingray about a full stock head, 1 or 2 more hits, and he will be exactly a full stock head. Let's see, there is a weapon spawn in the middle of the field. Is either player going to go over to it? We might see Stingray make a move, but no, he's going to stick with the spear, just guard that corner, protect the landing from Meg D.
Falling side air, weapon toss doesn't connect. He's got some big weapon tosses here. Both the spear and the lance have some wide hitboxes on those throws, but Meg D gets inside of it, doesn't get the dodge read for the recovery.
That spear toss that he just threw up and then picking up the lance into the immediate recovery, that was almost so nasty. That little bonk on the head would have put Meg D in a little bit of hit stun, would have thrown off his plans for movement, and that could have given Stingray the perfect opportunity to find the lance recovery KO. He's being so careful about picking up that weapon. I'm surprised.
I think he primed a specific weapon. He knows he's deep red. He doesn't want to put himself in a position where he's like coming in on a lance on his final stock here against Meg D. So he literally does not want a weapon right now.
Yeah, I guess you're right. He probably just wants to do as much damage as he can for the last moment because he knows he's going to be knocked out soon. The neutral light from the middle of the stage, not going to do it.
I mean, the one downside to this plan of his is that he has significantly less range. You see him going for a lot of those dash downlights. He's not throwing out any attacks. An air won't KO. He needs that downlight for the GCN heavy or the recovery, but the side air from Meg D. Final stocks here, so we're expecting Stingray to finally want a weapon.
He was probably just running around and be like, come on, hit me. I want you to hit me. Hit me right now. I want you to hit me. But Meg D just really couldn't do it for so long. Oh. And there it is. He felt a little more confident in actually committing with the D-Light there. We saw one previously towards the end of his second stock that didn't actually make the hit. But really, it seems like at the end of the day, he was just looking for that D-Light into the recovery to get the KO off the top. The weapon toss bonking on the head there. You see him in sweat beads. 604 damage, but look at the split between those two. Oh, no, he did a GC neutral heavy. Excuse me when I said recovery. But yeah, you see, this is a spear game.
Yeah, for sure. It's very interesting why he wants the Orion spear over the Brand. Like, it's not like he's really utilizing the signature kit that well. Like, he's thrown out a bunch of spear down sigs. Now we're starting to see that lance come out.
Even then, I feel like he's not using the down sig as much as we're used to.
It's definitely interesting. I got to chalk it up to a stat line. Like, he'll have a little bit more defense and less movement speed is maybe what he's looking for with the swap over to the Orion.
Now we're seeing some nairs coming out. That's what we want. Before it was so many side airs, hoping to catch Meg D jumping. But now we need to look for that juggle game. That's one of the strongest things that Lance has in its kit. Beautiful neutral signature hitting at the 45-degree angle. Maybe reading a D-Light the wrong way. But yeah, now we're seeing those signatures come out. Already saw an Insig on Lance. Already saw a D-Sig on the Spear as well.
That's one thing that I think Stingray does very consistently is like, show a clear game plan in one game and then have a completely different one for game two. We've seen that, said that time and time again, where he comes in with the Bryn, plays an entire game, basically no axe damage, then game two, starts off with the axe and basically only wants to play the axe.
Here in game 4, Meg D doing a good job of keeping this one competitive and denying a possible 3-0 from Stingray. On this Asuri pick from him, we are, of course, on the Demon Island no soft platforms. Meg D, again, a lot of jumping, a lot of fast fall before committing. His last 2 commitments have been 2 sword nairs, and that's it. And there's been like 5 to 6, maybe even as many as 7 jumps in between each neutral air. So he's trying to play as carefully as he possibly can, that time falling with a down air after the whiff from Stingray. D-Light recovery, perfect height, picking that one up, getting the KO off the top, keeping it pretty even.
Just forcing out the options of Stingray and then punishing for them. There's the weapon spawn. Stingray does pick it up. He had a nice lead going into the second stocks, and Meg D has completely gotten rid of it.
Nice 2-piece, 3-piece. Putting so much space. He's at like the perfect spacing between him and Stingray. Like that spacing, like right there, he's usually a little bit further away so the side air doesn't actually hit. But his ability to be like 3 legend hurt box lengths away where Stingray doesn't have the range, especially with the spear, because he doesn't have that movement to get him closer like Stingray has with the lance.
Yeah, and then great recognition from Meg D, knowing like you don't have that horizontal acceleration that you might have had in the past on that weapon. But right now, Meg D,
this spacing right there. Yep. He's so good at getting to that exact spacing and then basically keeping that in tandem, in parallel with Stingray. Stingray moves forward just a little bit. Meg D moves back exactly that same amount to keep that perfect spacing when Stingray has the spear.
Yeah, he wants the opponent to be the one to break that spacing so he can get inside. But Stingray does find the hit, that recovery. Meg D, final stock here in game number 4. Needs to win this to take this to game 5.
Seeing the neutral airs coming through, hoping for the juggle. Meg D was inside of the second one in sort of that like, that's basically the eye of the storm of the hurricane where it's calm for just a moment before it starts to get crazy again.
The 3-piece coming out from Stingray. Meg D hits an air, needs the recovery here. Doesn't hit the downlight. Stingray's the one with the punish.
Ooh, he ends up getting down away from that side air that probably would have led to the KO. I don't know if it would have forcibly sent into the blast zone still in hit stun, but it would have set up for the edge guard, which probably could have been cleaned up with a weapon toss. Meg D is so damaged. He needs to find like essentially 3 different miracles. The first one is to KO Stingray here and get him on final stocks. Oh! The second one is not getting hit by that ground pound to then fall. Stingray takes it over Meg D 3-1.
A rare change in mentality from Meg D in that final stock there. He got very eager. He really wanted that stock. You saw him starting to approach on Stingray a lot more. He was going in, even there, dash jump dare, and Stingray's like, all right, turn this around, get the KO, put out the damage with the Lance, and win it all. He's going to go 3-1 and earn his spot in the top 8.
And in that last game especially, when we saw the damage breakdown on screen during those replays, 429 on Lance. That is 54% of his overall damage was done on that.